Learn more about the albums you love with Dissect, a music analysis podcast hosted by me, Cole Kushna, a lifelong musician and composer. Each season of Dissect dives deep into a single album, forensically dissecting the music, lyrics, and meaning of one song per episode. Our newest season is covering Tyler the Creator's Igor, a beautifully honest album in which Tyler explores love, communication, masculinity, and truth. Listen to Dissect today only on Spotify, because great art deserves more than a swipe.
This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements. So many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code VISIBLE24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. Welcome back to Bachelor Party. It's time, everybody. We got a new season. I'm Juliet Litman, here with Callie Curry. Callie, welcome back to the Bachelor lifestyle. How you feeling?
Feels like it has been ages. I felt like...
I know.
I was like watching it, I just felt like a brain overload.
Too many women, too much Zach. Like, what was overwhelming or what was overloading?
Yeah, like trying to keep up with the names and everything. I was just like, usually, I know night one's the hardest because there's so many, but usually you can like, the people you like the most, you like are like, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. I would have to like stop, rewind and be like, okay, Katie. All right.
I know. I took a lot of notes too.
Yeah. I was writing notes the whole time because I was like, there's no way I'm going to remember all this. But I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how next week goes. I'm hoping that next week I'm like, all right, I'm back in the swing of it.
I was like, I don't know if I can retain all this information. Also, I think these women look more alike than ever before. Like, it's just a lot of long hair and waves and sequins.
A lot of waves.
Aren't waves out? Like, aren't we done with that long wavy hair? Or isn't it time to move on? I don't get it. It's just like,
apparently
how can
not.
this still be the Bachelor look? I'm over it.
Apparently not. I do think that I don't feel like I fucking say this every single season. Lot of pretty girls. Like,
yeah.
Everyone that came out of limo, I was like, wow. Great skin. A lot of great skin. I had one glazed donut.
Absolutely.
That that's in my notes. Glazed donut.
Who was it?
Jess.
Oh, the first girl?
She was the first girl. Yeah.
The one wearing all of the body glitter?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't notice
so much body glitter.
I did not notice the body glitter, but I watched I know. I watched with my sister-in-law and she texted me later and was like, still thinking about all that body glitter. And I was like, what? What body glitter? And she was like, the first girl that got out of the limo. And I was like, who? And she's like, I gotta rewatch it. I can't remember her name. And then I went back and rewatched it. And I was like, oh, wow. But I didn't notice it. I think I was so focused on her face. Her face was glistening.
She's a very pretty girl. Very pretty girl. Her name is Jess.
Her skin was like
Sierra level.
Sierra level, dewiest of skin.
Yeah, she looked cute. She looked nervous. She was also 23. We'll talk about Jess later. I think Jess is going to go very far, even though she didn't get a lot of time. I just feel like Jess is Bachelor catnip. So we'll come back to her.
Bachelor catnip.
Seriously, let's begin with Zach, our new Bachelor. Callie, do you like him more or less than when he was on Rachel's season? Rachel and Gabby.
off of one episode, I like him more.
Hard to go down. We had a very low estimation of him. Very low.
Yeah. So my sister-in-law randomly, maybe a month ago, texted me and was like, I'm getting into The Bachelor. I'm just going to rewatch all these old seasons, which I'm like, you don't really have to do it. You can just like start a new season. Yeah. But she wanted to rewatch. So she watched season 14, which I believe was Ben, season 20, which is someone else. And then she was going to watch last season. And I was like, honestly, don't. Because if you do, you're not going to like Zach at all going into this. So she didn't watch it. And I felt like she was like, oh, this season's going to be great. Da, da, da. Like she was very happy after episode 1.
Wow.
I like him more, but the expectation was the literal floor.
It just felt very like old school. Like it just felt like he felt like more of like a vehicle for the women to be wacky and do their thing than to be like a standout, which considering he's so boring, I prefer. Like, okay, take a back seat. Let the women be nutty and let's get back to it. And like Zach can just be like an added on piece of the show. That's fine.
But even still, like I saw more personality in this single episode than I did the entire season.
Yeah.
Like, remember, I think when we were doing our draft, we talked about like, oh, he wants to be a little goofy or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, what do you mean? There's like not a goofy bone in his body. You could see it this episode where he is, I don't know if it was you or Jody who said that, but he is, you can tell he's like, I'm really like, might have a stick up my ass, but like, I know goofy is like what I'm supposed to want. So I'm going to try to be that a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. He with Madison before she went home and they were doing the gritty dance, it was really awkward, but like, to your point, yeah, he wants to be fun. He's just not instinctively fun. So he needs a woman to bring it out in him, I think.
The gritty moment is top 5 most cringiest things I've seen on the entire franchise, which is saying a lot.
I think Zach is one of the cringiest bachelors of all time. I would say he is, for me personally, the least appealing bachelor since Jake Pavelka. And that includes Colton Underwood, Clayton Echard, and Ari Lowendyke. Like all of them are
Juan Pablo.
Oh my God, Juan Pablo is so much more appealing than all of those people. Like Zach. I spoiler alert, I interviewed him. You'll hear that on Thursday. He was very nice, but like I can't think of anyone for me personally that could be less appealing other than Jake Pavelka. Like, honestly, it's going to be hard for me. I'm going to try really hard to be nice and to be positive because he seems like a good guy, but I only have negative things to say.
But first episode, better than you thought?
I think it's like exactly what I thought. Like I was trying to think about like, what did I learn about Zach that was noteworthy? And very little. Like I don't have a lot. And a couple times he mentioned like things that he liked, and I was like, huh, okay, interesting. I would say like the most disturbing thing for me about Zach is that he's so focused on like a perfect marriage without fighting. And I'm worried for Zach because he can only be disappointed. There's no relationship, marriage or otherwise, that has no fighting. And like
I think that there are. And I think
really?
that those marriages, I think that there are. And I think that those marriages would consist of someone like Zach, where there's absolutely zero passion. Like if you don't care about someone, and if you're just living your own life and there's just someone that happens to be there with you, like don't really care. Like you have to care enough to say something to somebody. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. Yes, that's true. But like, maybe that's just what some people want, but I think that sounds terrible.
Oh, I think it's awful. I don't think that anyone wants it except for maybe someone like Zach, if that's what his parents were. And I'm not saying that they were, but maybe that's what he saw. And so
yeah, it's like how he perceived
those relationships definitely exist.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they do, but he just seems unrealistic about his expectations for marriage. How did you feel about Sean Lowe showing up? Did you watch Sean Lowe's season?
I did. I actually like him and his wife.
Yeah.
I love what he said, where he was like, I saw her the first night and I thought she was good looking, but I wasn't like, oh, this is my wife. It just seems much more realistic.
Yeah.
Which also I'm like, yeah, that's probably why they're still together and happy. Like he didn't go into it being like, I found my wife on night one, which I feel like they must make them say that. Every single person says it. Like, I may have found my wife.
I think Jesse directly asked him, like, do you think your wife's in there? I think they usually ask, like,
yeah,
in a really explicit way. I don't want to harp on this.
I just feel like if that were you, wouldn't you be like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Although I will say I'm like the type of person who like after like 2 good dates, I'm like, well, maybe we'll get married. Like what would that look like? Not in a way that I think it's like realistic, but I can't help but like go there, you know?
Think about
when you're
that.
like, yeah. When you're excited about someone.
I also think that if you're dating over, I was going to say 30, but maybe even earlier, maybe like 27, your like lack of patience, like you don't want to waste your time. So like after 2 dates, you're like, could I marry him? No? All right. Well, he can lose my number. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, I'm not saying I'm going to marry him, but if I don't think on date 2 that there's even a chance that I would want to, then let's just move on. We can be friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially over 30, I think.
Yeah. Under 27, I would say that I probably just thought I was going to marry that person after date 1. Didn't even think about it. It was just like, oh yeah, we're probably getting married.
I just always felt like the outcome is either breaking up or getting married. So like, why delay? You know, it's just like, it's one or the other. So if you know it's going to be breaking up, just end it.
Yeah.
I don't want to, okay, I said this before. I don't want to harp on this and I am going to be positive, I promise. But there's just something about Zach and the way they positioned this with Sean and all of these women who looked basically like you just undifferentiable. That just like feels so retro. And I'm just like, I feel like after like a weird few seasons of The Bachelor, instead of trying to like reinvent things, they're like, you know what? Let's just take it back. Let's just go for a classic season. And I just don't know if that was the right move. Cause I've been, you know, like thinking about some other shows and just like, is this going to work? Can they just keep running it back like this for like forever? Or do they need to evolve? We can't answer that, but I felt very stark to me where I was like, oh, so they really want to evoke like a Sean Lowe type vibe, not even like a Nick Viall or like a Ben Higgins, but like really nice guy, Sean. And I just think that's kind of like a deliberate choice. And I don't know, guys, just don't know how that's going to work out when you think about what's popular on TV these days.
Well, as much as I do like Sean, like I actually do like him. And he is a nice guy. I did like his season though. Like,
yeah, me too.
The dread.
But it was a different era. It was just a different era.
Yeah, the dread I feel for this is not what I felt for Sean. So let me just say that. I liked him, and his wife. Is her name Catherine?
Catherine Giudice. Yeah, okay, now she's Catherine Lowe.
I just want to make sure that was right.
If you'll recall, Sean was a born-again virgin. He was not a virgin, but then decided he wouldn't be having sex until he got married again. Yeah.
Which he knew was quickly approaching.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't be a long wait.
But the note that I wrote was could have completely skipped the Sean segment. I like him, but like it was just not needed. I know they always have to like do something like that, so I'm like, whatever. I guess it's not like worst case scenario, but like it was just like watching like plain white bread high five each other. Do you know what I mean?
It was like a peanut butter sandwich with white bread.
Like not even whole wheat.
I don't know if you noticed this, but Sean Lowe was wearing like, I think he was wearing joggers. And I was like, he couldn't get dressed up for this appearance. Like just put on a pair of jeans. I guess COVID really came for us all where you just, you know, elastic waist all the time.
Maybe the paycheck wasn't good enough.
I thought he looked good. I was like, oh, he's like not as big as he used to be. And I think he looks better.
Yeah, he's lean.
He looks handsome.
Kids now.
So blonde. I'm like, is this man really that blonde? I've never known anyone to be that blonde.
It's like white coming out of his skull, but his eyebrows are blonde. Like he's blonde.
Yeah, I think it's real, but I've never seen anything like that before, especially on a man. One thing that my good friend David Jacoby always points out is like it's very hard to think of like adult males who are truly blonde. There aren't a lot. Like, can you think of anyone other than Sean Lowe, a true blonde? He's the only one that comes to mind for me, other than like maybe Tom Hiddleston. But I don't even know if he's actually blonde.
I don't even know who that is.
Yes, you do. He was like, he's Loki, I believe, in the Avengers.
Who's Loki?
He's Thor's brother or something. Thor's cousin. I don't know. He's related
Tom
to Thor.
Hiddleston?
Yeah, he dated Taylor Swift.
First of all, he's not even like that blonde.
Yeah,
at all.
He's not even, I just think of him as blonde, but he's not, I guess. Anyway, we'll come back to it. Think about adult blondes other than Sean Lowe.
I just Googled blonde grown man. Not a lot. A lot of them are like the ones that are coming up are like people that dye their hair white.
I know. Yes. And Sean is like, Sean looks like a White Walker. He's so blonde. Sean is like the most Aryan looking person ever, you know?
Sean, if you're listening, I want to know if you get your hair dyed or not.
I don't think he does, but I would love to know as well. All right, let's talk about these gals. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code VISIBLE24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need. Have coverage options to protect the things you value most. File a claim right on the State Farm mobile app and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Should we talk about the gals that got the at-home package, or should we just talk about our standouts? Who really meant a lot to you?
Well, I just wrote down who I liked and didn't like.
Let's hear who you liked.
Okay, so number one, I don't know if this is like really number one, but who I think is going to go really far is Katie.
Okay, Katie, Kaity. Okay.
Yeah, I also, because I couldn't remember who I drafted, every medical professional that came in, I was like, oh, they're on my team. But then I realized I did that 14 times, and I was like, I don't have all these people. And a lot of the ones that weren't on my team, I liked.
Katie and Catherine were very hard for me to tell
Catherine.
apart. Yes.
I have Catherine that I liked her too.
Yes.
So I don't know.
I
could be mixing them as one.
Katie is the one who already lives in Austin, Texas, and came in and looked at Zach and said, it's true. Everything's bigger in Texas. Which was that a reference to his height, or was she supposed to be referencing his penis size or something?
She looked at his pants.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Also, after she said that, Zach was like, I like it. That was great. That was really great. And I was like, which part of that did you really like?
Zach is
Has no one told you that before?
He's what? That everything's bigger in Texas, or that you have a large penis? What do you like?
Yeah. I think that he was he really was taken back that she looked at his pants and said that. And he was like, oh yeah, this is it.
I can see that being true. Zach doesn't give me a vibe of someone who he doesn't emit a very sexual energy. So I could see that perhaps that kind of conversation's not part of his life, really.
Not a lot would shock me. It would shock me if Zach was some sort of freak in the sheets. It would shock me.
Absolutely agree. Like if he watched last night's Real Housewives of Potomac, he probably was just absolutely just scandalized
horrified
by Mia and Wendy. Which more on
no,
that.
not
Morally,
Mia,
morally corrupt.
Karen talking about threesomes. Like it was a lot. He's probably turned it off. He wouldn't be able to handle it all.
He was like, "Yeah, I got to move on." So I'm sure he loved that. Anyway, Katie was the one who said everything's bigger in Texas, and then Catherine is also like she's also a healthcare professional, as you noted. And to be honest, Catherine, I don't even remember what she said. I'm going to look it up in the notes, but she didn't really leave a big. She was the one who was like, "Do you want to SPF me?" And he was, I think, like honestly, just confused, which I was too. I was like, "SPF me? Is that?" And then I was like, "Oh, F me. I get it now." But he seemed so uncomfortable that she kept like jumping in.
Yeah. Also, he didn't spray her face. He like sprayed in the air.
Yeah.
Like you saw the sunscreen particles just like floating between them.
Yeah, it was weird.
But I think she's very, very pretty. But to your point, I think I may mix her and Katie into one person.
Yeah, they also like they both have the waves. They're both just like super blonde. I really couldn't tell them apart. The other one who looks like them, I think as well, is Bailey, aka Balin, who really threw us for a loop before. When
her hair's a little darker.
Her hair's a little bit darker and her face is a little different, but like in general, I could see all three of them being recruited for the same like police lineup, you know? If you're just like looking for a brunette with wavy hair.
Also, again, more waves. Yeah.
Yes, the waves are just absolutely outrageous. There's so many of them. And I thought that hairstyle was over, but I guess not. Maybe they asked them to do it. Okay, who else did you like? Anyone else jump out to you?
Yes. Charity.
You liked Charity. I noticed Charity. I wouldn't say I liked her.
I liked her. I thought that the way that she talked about her work, it seemed like he liked it.
He definitely liked it. He also was like, Charity. Who could ever forget that name? Which I was like, really? Is that such a notable name?
Yeah, I think we talked about this, but like in Zach's mind, I think he wants someone like Charity, like the values that she has, like how she was speaking about helping people, like all those things. I could just see Zach being like, oh my God, yes, like this is what I want my wife to talk like. Do I think he's going to pick Charity? No. But I think he is really like turned on by her being like this like perfect person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I could see it. Like she checked the boxes for him, essentially.
Yeah.
Like she just, the way that she was presenting herself, he was like, yeah, that works for me. He's like, okay. I just found her like super fake. I was just like for the reason Zach may have liked her. I was just like, this person, I don't really understand who she actually is, though her story is lovely. I think she works with children and families, like who like in therapy or whatever. So I'm like, okay, she seems fine, but it all seemed like an act to me.
I hope not, because I feel like anyone that does her job, like,
yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know if I couldn't hear those stories. Like it would haunt me.
Sure.
I think I would end up adopting 17 children a week. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't just be like, okay, yeah, hope everything goes well. Like that would be really hard for me. The last person I wrote down was Greer.
Okay. Glad you brought up Greer. Obviously, we got to talk about her too.
Yes. My first note about her was, I don't know if I like her or not. So her like package in the very beginning, I was like, no, not for me. This was a lot. No thanks. But then her on night one, I liked.
I liked her too. I liked her partially because she looked like a hot mess. I'm going to be honest. Like she did not, her dress was like, she just looked also like she's from Sean Lowe's season before everyone has like a stylist and like glam or whatever. But like she just looked like a more regular person, which on television translates to looking like a bit of a mess compared to the rest of these gals. So that's okay, but just let's call it out.
Well, like she clearly didn't get her hair styled.
No, not at all.
So I think that's just maybe her personality. Like she's just like, I'm fine.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, I like that.
The coffee bit that she did where she gets out and she's like, I brought this coffee all the way from New York. I don't know. I felt there was a lot of New York slander in these intros. Like also Kat doing the weird Italian, like, gabagool. Like she watched The Sopranos once and like they drive from New York to New Jersey. That was weird. And the coffee thing just like didn't make any sense. Coffee is everywhere. And I would say like Portland is more of a coffee city than New York. That was just bizarre.
For sure.
It was weird.
I don't even think of New York as a coffee city.
Yeah, New York is like shitty bodega coffee.
Yeah, I feel like people drink coffee here because you get up earlier, maybe because there's like a lot of people working.
Because we're human,
because
like, you like coffee. But yeah, it's not like a coffee city.
I feel like if anything, like maybe have been like, I brought this from Brooklyn, like you needed like some, saying it's from New York is just not anything. Means nothing. You could have got it from McDonald's.
Yeah, like I can't wait to bring you to where I live. Here's the coffee I have every morning from the place on the corner or something like that. But like just like coffee from New York, which is clearly not from New York, was very dumb. Very dumb.
But then she kind of was like, I live in New York, but you know, Austin's where I want to be. And when I was little, I used to say, I put together a PowerPoint. I'm like, do people do that? Obviously, I moved around every 2 seconds.
Right.
So I definitely never made a PowerPoint about another move. But like people who live in the same place their entire life, is that something that happens?
I don't know. The PowerPoint piece of it, I've like, my parents haven't moved in over 40 years, so I have no idea. But when I wanted to get DVR, like in like 10th grade, I made like a document for my mom of like why it was a good idea for us to upgrade our cable to get DVR. So maybe it's like a way to convince your parents of something. I don't know.
I did a PowerPoint for Seth to buy me this watch I really wanted once.
Did he get it for you?
He did. Also, I did it for the entire family because we were in the Bay at the time. So his whole family watched. And then they voted on whether I should get the watch or not.
Wow.
And they voted yes.
Did anyone say no?
I don't think anyone said no, but I even like went back into the history of the watch and blah, 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 blah. Wow. It was supposed to be like a fun thing because Seth was really into watches, or he still is. But that's the only time I can remember making a PowerPoint for something. I feel like when I was younger, like I didn't really think it was my choice of like where I lived. So like I can only imagine living in the same spot. I would just think like, yeah, this is our life. I wouldn't be like, where should we move? You know what I mean?
Also, did she want that before or after her brother went to UT? Like, did she know about Austin already? Like, how did she decide that? Also, Austin is very different now than when like Greer presumably made this PowerPoint. And what were her reasons? Does she just like love the Lyndon Johnson library? Does she love breakfast tacos? Is she really like into Kevin Durant? Like, what's the deal?
Most people, like Kevin Durant wasn't even there then, but
he was there a very brief period of time.
Yeah, but most kids also like don't want to move. They have friends. They have their sports. They have so I'm like, were you just unhappy child?
Did you have? Like,
I don't know. That piece of it just
boyfriend?
Was like, I don't know if that's real. Yeah, that was the only piece where I was of her in person where I was like, that's a lie. There's just I don't believe that.
It worked though because she got the first impression rose.
I mean, by the way, I think Zach would be easy to work.
I guess so. I was a little surprised she got it, but also maybe he just remembered her because she definitely did stand out from the crowd. Like she had a different energy.
Different.
She looked a little bit different in a good way, even though I insulted her. Like she was unique. So maybe he was just like, oh, this is a person who's like doing their own thing. And I could see that being like both like noteworthy and also exciting on night one. Because otherwise, how do you keep track of everyone?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get that.
I did. I thought that Jess and Charity had a chance at the first impression rose as well.
Yeah, he didn't talk to Jess that much, but she seemed really genuine. I really liked her. She's one of my faves. She seemed very sweet and like super nervous. I think she might be the youngest one at 23. I
liked her dress.
Yeah, I liked her dress too. I went back and I looked at her bio on the website. She looks so different in her picture online. It's like a completely different person.
Let me look.
It's really weird. Also, I think she's from the Orlando area. Winter Springs, is that near Orlando?
It is. That is where our lovely colleague now, Pasha Hagigi, lives.
Oh, great. Well, check them out on the Ringer MBA show. she just looks so different. But I liked her. I think she'll go far. I feel like that kind of like sweet girl usually doesn't stand out necessarily on night one, but tends to get some attention. I also, there was one woman who was wearing like a pantsuit, and I really liked that. She like, just, and I can't remember her name.
Who was that?
I wrote it down though. It was Anastasia. She was wearing like a actual like adult outfit. I thought she looked cool, and I like that she stood out from the crowd that way too. I weirdly like Davia. I don't know why, but I liked also her like swan like dress. I thought it was cool, even though it was basically a wedding dress. But I don't know, I liked it. And I also liked Ariel, who lost her luggage. I don't know why, once again, but these are the people that just called out to me.
I think Ariel does well.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, and I also like Genevieve. I thought she seemed like another nurse.
Oh, I really liked her. I forgot about her.
Yeah, she seemed like fun. Like she seemed like a good hang. And then the biggest surprise to me was Christina Mandrell, who I don't understand why she's going full name. I still just like, I don't get it. First name and last name on screen, on the website, everywhere. But the party bus really turned things up. Like that seemed like a fun addition. I was happy for everyone. There was like another location and like a party bus. However, you have to assume they weren't listening to music. So they were just like pouring champagne in their mouths. And like, that's weird.
Well, I have to imagine that like, because like as I was watching it, because obviously like on the show, they edit it, they put music behind it. It literally looked like an actual party bus. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I did what you just said. And I was like, but there's no music in real life. So were they just like, yeah, yeah, ooh, 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 ooh. Like it genuinely looked like they were having fun. So people, they had to have been making some sort of noise.
Well, the woman from New Orleans who was handing out the beads, she went home, which I'm not that surprised by, but I was like, that's too bad. She clearly brought the party. So I felt a little sorry for her. What was her name?
I watched the rose ceremony 3 times.
Just to make sure. Oh, it was Vanessa, by the way. Just to make sure you really got it. Like, why?
No, because I kept being like, wait, who went home? There were so many people that looked alike that I was like, which person is this? Like, I wanted to see, I had to hear him say their names.
They didn't even show everyone.
Name everyone that went home. Yeah.
It's very confusing, but just for the record, Madison, who we'll come back to in a second, Madison, Sonia, Lekka, Victoria E, Olivia, Holland, gonna come back to her too, Becca, Cara, Olivia, Vanessa. I think that's all who went home. I don't even know there was a Cara. I had no idea. Like, maybe we'll see her in Paradise, and who knows. Let's talk.
They do like to throw in someone that I'm like, I've never seen them before on Paradise. They do that.
Can we talk about Madison for a minute? Madison from North Dakota.
Oh, God.
She self-eliminated, basically. It was mutual, I guess.
Honestly?
Yes.
She self-eliminated. She knew that she was going home.
Yeah.
For someone who 90% of the show, she had zero self-awareness. I'm very happy for her that she was able to turn it all around and be like, yeah, I'm going home.
I liked it too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why waste your time? Why embarrass yourself further? Also, this is the most screen time she probably could have gotten. But it was good for her.
She will for sure be on Paradise.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She also just seemed really drunk. Like those are drunk tears that she was shedding, you know? Like that's not a normal person just like crying or whatever. So
the forced kiss.
Horrible.
That was a lot. You could also, I'm like, you've been, you know how you could tell when someone's like trying to kiss you? Like she was staring into his eyes and I'm like, girl, he's purposely trying to get out of it.
Yeah, he's not like, feeling it.
She physically grabbed the back of his neck and pulled him in for a kiss. And then he only gave her like a pop kiss. And I'm just like, how awkward is that?
It just confirms to me that he is also not a freak, because like it just seems like he was really put off by her aggression and it was just like moving too fast. Also, I guess to his credit, all of the women he kissed, he asked them if he could. So, for the most part.
Oh, wait, no. Except for the first one, right?
Except for the one outside.
The very first kiss, which I thought that was so weird.
I think that was weirdly edited. It seemed like there was a cut there because there was no like build up to it. And it just seemed like.
That's
seemed random. It was really weird.
Watching it, I was just like, oh, so you think you can just kiss her?
I think it was Katie.
Like, it was so strange to me.
Yeah, and he everyone else he asked. So I think that was weirdly edited for, I don't know why.
Okay.
I think he seeks consent, which I appreciate.
Wait, no. It was Bailey.
Oh, because he messed up her name?
Right? Because he was, yeah.
You're right. It was Bailey.
Yeah.
Bailey, a.k.a.
Which
Balin.
I was just like, just because you messed up my name doesn't mean I want to kiss you. But,
but she was happy about it.
She was happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
lucky for him.
I don't know. I know, but I bet he asked. Like, it just was such a weird moment. I think we missed something there. I want to talk about Holland, who I drafted. I did really badly. We'll come back to that in a minute. But Holland seemed like she was sauced when she arrived. Like when she was like, she basically says,
and
like,
when she left,
yeah, she's like, I want you in me, or whatever she says. I couldn't forget the exact quote, but I was just like, she knew she was going to say this, and she needed some liquid courage, and boy, did she get it. It was tough to watch, but I think
I thought you drafted her first.
Yeah,
overall.
Yeah, I thought she was going to be a hit.
I remember thinking, I'm almost positive she was on my list.
She was. You were jealous when I picked her.
And I was like, oh, yeah. Then when I saw her, I was like, whew, dodged a bullet.
I can't believe it. I fucked up. But I was surprised she was gone, because I was like, usually that kind of line gets you pretty far. And I think she said something like, you were in the wrong Holland, or like something like that, because she went with Rachel to Holland.
Yeah. And she was like, I don't want to do that date again, but you were in the wrong Holland. And I was like, sorry, Mom. Yeah. And sorry, Dad.
I don't care for that kind of thing. It's just like, own it. It's fine. You're also going on the show. They're probably more upset that you're on this show than you making like a sexual remark.
Yeah, I just think the remark was weird. Like, you know how Katie had the vibrator the first day? Like, that didn't really bother me that much.
Yeah.
Saying, like, I want you in me is just, not for me.
It's just kind of gross. Anyway, and then Brianna, who got the first impression rose. Brianna and Zach, both at times, not to each other, asked, so who is so-and-so? And Brianna says to Zach, like, who is Zach? And it was absolutely just dumb. Like, it was just like, how's he supposed to answer that?
I felt like Zach was like, like, I remember when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, like, if someone was like, so who is Callie Curry? I'd be like, I don't know. You tell me.
And I was like, what is this? Therapy? No, thank you. Like, what?
Yeah, like, ask me a meaningful question about my life that I can tell you something about myself, but I can't just be like, here's a quick 5-second summary of everything about me.
Yeah, it's like, perhaps ask, like, what's been the scariest part of your day? Or like, how are you feeling? Or I don't even know, but it's the worst thing.
Where are you from? Do you have siblings? Like,
yeah.
What, like, or like, how are you feeling after this night one, after being on the other side of it? Like, there's so many questions that are better than that one.
I know.
She had nothing to worry about. So whatever.
But doesn't speak well. I don't think he was into her. I think he was disappointed that she had America's Rose. I think he was just like, when can I get rid of Brianna? He barely spoke to her. He didn't seek her out. It just seemed like he's not feeling it.
I wasn't feeling it either.
I liked her dress. I like the rose dress. It looks cool.
It was a little.
I mean, it's like too on the nose.
Yeah, it was like
but
too on the nose.
I don't know. I was still into it.
I think she's cute.
Yeah,
that's about it.
She seems fine.
Yeah.
All right. So this is who we each drafted. Jody had Katie. Great pick. Mercedes, who no idea who that is after night one. I have to return to.
I heard him say her name, and I was like, "Oh, there's a Mercedes on this season." I wouldn't have
Yeah,
I've never heard of her before.
Had no idea,
but she made it.
I did not know.
She's on to the second round.
Carries on. Charity, who you really like.
No, I think she's gonna go far.
She's gonna go far. Okay. Ariel, who we also think is gonna go far, and I do like based on the little information I have. She's the one whose luggage got lost. I hope she found it. And Brianna, the first impression girl. So Jody's got a really good team. You have Becca.
Home.
Don't know who that is.
She didn't make it.
She's already gone. Ouch.
She didn't. Not only did she not.
Olivia.
Not only did Becca and Olivia L, who's the second person you're about to say, not only did they not make it, they weren't named or shown on their exit.
Ouch. On the upside, you had Christina Mandrell, who got a lot of time and probably will be a big presence.
Yep.
Greer, which great job. You know how to spot talent. And Kylie, who we saw, and I think she'll like be on a few episodes, but she's not really that big of a...
we barely saw her tonight. The most screen time she had tonight was in the preview for the season.
You're right. And the preview of the season looked pretty good, by the way. And then I had Holland, who's gone. Brooklyn, who barely made it, but she's on the fringe. I don't think she'll be around for long. She was really worried. Bailey, who seems like she'll be a disruptor early on. Allie, who I know she was on it, but like she didn't get a ton of time, but I liked
She's
her.
in the
I feel good
previews.
about my Allie pick.
Yeah.
She seemed nice. And then Jess.
Great pick.
Great skin Jess. So I feel okay about my team. I mean, Holland and Brooklyn were some real... you and I whiffed in rounds 1 and 2.
Yeah,
then we found our Brock Purdy's in round 5.
That's what was so disappointing. I'm like, my number 1 and 2 pick, like...
Same.
Ugh, full bust.
But listen, the entire NFL messed up too. No one else picked Brock Purdy, last pick in the draft. And here he is playing in the NFC Conference Championship game. So it's fine. Callie, who do you think Zach will be picking overall?
It's so tough.
I think it might be Greer.
Really?
I feel like he's a first impression guy. Yeah. I feel like he's going to defy Zach's.
Yeah, the only thing
Although,
is, like,
I don't know.
Greer seems like she's too much for him. Like, if he picks Greer is running the relationship.
But I think he might need that.
I think Greer, Jess, and Katie
Those are your final 3.
are going far. There is one brunette that makes it. It seems pretty far based off the previews, and I think it's Ariel.
Who was crying on the steps?
I thought it was Ariel. I don't know. I rewatched it like 3 times trying to figure out who the brunette was.
There's no way to know.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with Greer just because I feel like he's a real vibe guy, but who knows? And also, he says that it's not the most dramatic season, but it is the most emotional or something. So I feel like he doesn't pull a switcheroo. Thanks for lowering our standard, our expectations, Zach.
Also with Greer, I do think that like she had like a little bit of that goofiness, and he was like, yeah, into that. We always talk about like things that we hated. Cats, meatballs. Why the fuck?
Disgusting.
Beyond.
All of the eating that they show is like always disgusting. That was so gross. No thanks.
So gross. Sorry, I just like had to make sure I said that because I have it written down.
Couldn't stand cat.
Me either.
On the flip side, I don't know who said it. I don't know who said this, and I rewound several times. Someone yelled at Jesse, "Go back to ESPN," and I loved that. That was hilarious.
You think that it could have been Cat?
It could have been. I have no idea who said it. I don't know. But it was my favorite moment of the episode. Absolutely. Of course, because Jesse was involved, but also like heckling Jesse is so funny. That's a great move.
Yeah. Also, you have to have like a little bit of like oomph to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You got to feel good about yourself.
That was in the episode though, not in the preview, right?
No, it was in the episode. Yeah, it was in the episode.
Yeah. Could have been Holland. In her state, I could see her doing that. Holland or Madison.
Holland was just... so sauced. Madison, I think we can agree, will be a Paradise All-Star.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like the other person who will be a Paradise All-Star is Natalie, who came with the beads. Sorry, Vanessa.
Yeah.
In my head, I've named her Natalie, but she's Vanessa
from New Orleans
or from Louisiana. Yeah, I think she'll be in Paradise for sure. And a fun time.
One thing I was a little shocked about. I was shocked at how many people Zach kissed.
Yeah, I think he kissed like 5 or 6.
Yeah, which is normal. But based on what we've seen, I was like, he's only going to kiss one girl. We'll be lucky if we get a kiss tonight. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then Bailey, I was like, whoa, I was wrong. Straight out the limo. Within 30 seconds.
No, he in that way, he's like so many Bachelors where like kisses are currency, and it's like just like a way to placate them and just sort of move things along. It's just the easiest thing to do is just to give out a kiss. So he was doing it. He just seems like he also needs like some kind of indication. Like I feel like he needs like explicit confirmation that like things are good or bad. Like we kind of saw that with Madison. He's like, I wasn't feeling it. I did like that he just sort of ended it. Like that's good. If you're not into someone, just send him home.
Also, like he made sure she knew to the point where she was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So I did like that.
Do you have a pick for Bachelorette based on night one?
Ooh. I feel like Greer would be Bachelorette if she doesn't win.
I think Catherine, although I don't remember her really. I feel like Catherine, just the sort of like genericness, or Jess could both be
Jess
Bachelorettes.
could definitely be Bachelorette, but she's so young.
I know. But if this is the direction they're taking the show, back to basics, I could see it happening.
Genevieve would be another one. Is that how you say her name?
Genevieve.
Genevieve?
Genevieve.
I think it's probably...
It's Genevieve.
Genevieve. I think that's probably the correct pronunciation of it, but she probably doesn't use it.
Genevieve.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's missing the VE at the end.
Well, whoever. Gigi. I think she could be a good Bachelorette.
We'll just call her Gigi for the rest of the season, for the next 12 weeks. Oh, man. Well, we did it. We've all started this journey with Zach. To hear more from him, I'll have that on Thursday. I'm also going to chat with my NFL beat colleague, Lindsay Jones, who you may hear on Slow News Day and the Ringer NFL show. She's a big Bachelor head, so we're going to chat. Like I said, that'll be on Thursday. For more on The Real Housewives of Potomac and for Callie Curry, check out Morally Corrupt on the Ringer Reality TV podcast on Fridays. And thank you to our producer, Ashleigh Smith, who made a really great outline that powered this episode. So I appreciate it. We appreciate you. And we'll be back together next week.